All right, so you're thinking about diving into the world of dairy and edible oils, huh? Becoming a wholesale merchant, the maestro of milk, the sultan of soy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, buckle up because today we're going deep on what this career really entails, beyond just knowing your cheddar from your brie.
That's right. We're looking at your materials from RoleCatcher, and the first thing that jumps out is just how strategic this role really is.
Right.
It's about so much more than just connecting the dots between suppliers and buyers.
Okay, so paint me a picture then. What does a wholesale merchant actually DO all day?
Think of it this way. A supermarket needs 10,000 gallons of milk for the week, right? The wholesale merchant is the one figuring out where to get that milk for the best possible price, quality, and delivery schedule.
Okay.
They're analyzing market trends, predicting future demand, and negotiating deals that satisfy everyone involved.
So they're like the Sherlock Holmes of dairy products, always sniffing out the best deals and predicting the next big cheese craze.
Exactly. And the stakes are high. Let's say there's a sudden heat wave and everyone's craving ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
That demand spike can send shockwaves through the entire supply chain.
Wow.
A skilled wholesale merchant can anticipate those shifts, secure enough product to meet the demand, and maybe even negotiate a better price for themselves in the process.
Okay, so there's definitely a lot of strategic thinking involved. But RoleCatcher also mentions that you need strong persuasion and negotiation skills. What's an example of a negotiation a wholesale merchant might find themselves in?
Imagine a farmer's had a particularly good year for milk production. The wholesale merchant needs to convince that farmer to sell to them, maybe by offering a better price than competitors or locking in a long-term contract that provides security for both parties.
Ah, so it's like a delicate dance between knowing your numbers and building those relationships.
Precisely. And those strong relationships can be crucial. Let's say a major supplier suddenly has a production issue. A wholesale merchant with a strong network can pick up the phone call, a trusted contact, and find an alternative source, quickly minimizing disruption for their buyers.
So you're not just closing deals, you're cultivating a web of connections that can make or break your success.
Right.
Okay, that's fascinating. But let's get real. What's the earning potential here? Because RoleCatcher definitely highlights high earning potential as a major pro of this career path.
And with good reason. We've seen successful dairy wholesalers, for example, start out earning around $60,000 a year. But within 5 years, by specializing in in-demand areas like organic cheeses, they're pulling in upwards of $200,000.
Wow, okay. That's a pretty impressive jump. But of course, big rewards often come with big challenges, right? What are some of the downsides that someone considering this career should be aware of?
Well, those long hours we mentioned, those are real.
Yeah.
This isn't a typical 9 to 5 job. You're often at the mercy of market fluctuations, unexpected events, and demanding clients. You need to be incredibly adaptable and able to think on your feet.
So it's not just about being a people person. You've got to thrive under pressure and make tough decisions when things get cheesy, so to speak.
Exactly. And that brings us to another major factor mentioned in the RoleCatcher guide, the competition.
Right.
This is a field with a very high level of competition. You're going up against other sharp minds, all vying for the same deals and suppliers.
Okay, so in a sea of potential cheesemongers, what makes someone stand out? What are those key skills or qualities that can give someone an edge in such a competitive environment?
Well, analytical skills are a given. You need to be able to analyze market data, understand pricing trends, and make smart strategic decisions. But it goes beyond just crunching numbers.
So it's not just about being a numbers whiz. You've also got to be a smooth operator.
Exactly. Remember, you're dealing with people on both ends of the supply chain. You need to be able to build rapport, negotiate effectively, and sometimes even navigate tricky personalities. That's where those soft skills, communication, relationship building, and a healthy dose of charm can really make a difference.
So you're painting a picture of a wholesale merchant as a savvy negotiator, a master networker, and maybe even a bit of a dairy whisperer. But let's say someone listening is thinking, okay, I'm intrigued, but how do I actually break into this world?
That's where RoleCatcher's insights on career stages become really helpful. They emphasize the importance of starting with hands-on experience, even if it's an entry-level position.
So what does an entry-level wholesale merchant actually DO? Are we talking about shadowing a seasoned pro on a cheese run?
Not quite. You think more along the lines of market research, data entry, maybe even coordinating logistics for shipments. It's about learning the ropes from the ground up, understanding the flow of the industry, and proving your work ethic.
Right, because even a seasoned cheese trader had to start somewhere. They probably weren't negotiating million-dollar olive oil deals on day one. But let's say you've paid your dues, you've got a good grasp of the basics. What does that career progression look like? How do you climb that metaphorical ladder of cheese to those more senior roles?
RoleCatcher outlines a pretty typical path. You might start as an assistant or coordinator, then move up to junior wholesale merchant, then intermediate, and finally the coveted senior wholesale merchant. With each step, your responsibilities, your client portfolio, and of course your earning potential all increase.
Okay, so let's break that down a bit. What's the difference between, say, an intermediate and a senior wholesale merchant?
Well, an intermediate wholesale merchant might be managing a specific product category or region. They're making deals, building their network, and really honing their skills. But a senior wholesale merchant, they're the ones overseeing entire teams, developing long-term strategies for the company, and negotiating those high-stakes, multi-million-dollar deals that can make or break the bottom line.
So not only do you need that sharp business acumen, but you also need leadership skills.
Absolutely. And this is where RoleCatcher highlights something you might not expect: the importance of mentorship. As you move up the ladder, your ability to guide and develop junior team members becomes incredibly valuable.
So you're not just closing deals, you're shaping the future leaders of the dairy and edible oils world. Talk about leaving a legacy. But speaking of the future, RoleCatcher also touches on some pretty significant industry trends. One that really jumped out at me was the growing focus on sustainability.
Absolutely. Consumers are more conscious than ever about where their food comes from, how it's produced, and its environmental impact. And that's trickling down to the wholesale level in a big way.
So it's not enough to just know your Gouda from your Gruyere. You've also got to be well-versed in ethical sourcing, sustainable packaging, the whole 9 yards.
Precisely. A successful wholesale merchant today needs to be well-versed in things like fair trade certifications, organic farming practices, and the carbon footprint of different supply chain models.
Okay, so it's clear that this is a career that requires you to stay on top of your game, not just in terms of market trends, but also in terms of evolving consumer values.
Yeah.
Now, let's say someone's listening to all of this and they're feeling fired up, ready to dive into the world of wholesale. What's the best way to prepare for that all-important interview? Because let's face it, first impressions are everything. And luckily for us, RoleCatcher dives into interview prep as well.
They do, and it's a gold mine of information. Of course, you'll want to be ready for the standard questions about your experience, your strengths, your weaknesses, why you want this specific job. But what really sets a candidate apart in this field is their understanding of the market.
So it's not enough to just say, I'm a people person, I love cheese, hire me.
Yeah.
You need to demonstrate that you've got the market knowledge to back it up.
Exactly. For example, let's say you're interviewing for a company that specializes in olive oil. They might ask you something like, "We've seen a recent surge in the popularity of avocado oil. How do you think this will impact the olive oil market in the next year, and how would you adapt your sales strategy accordingly?"
Ooh, that's a tough one. They're really trying to gauge your ability to think critically and strategically about market forces. No pressure.
Right. And that's where preparation is key. RoleCatcher suggests really researching the company, understanding their product line, and familiarizing yourself with any recent industry news or trends.
So it's about being able to walk into that interview and demonstrate that you're not just here for a job. You're here because you're genuinely passionate and knowledgeable about this world of dairy edible oils and everything in between.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. But now you've got me thinking back to some of my own less than stellar interview experiences. I once totally blanked on a question and ended up rambling on about my cat's impressive napping abilities for a solid 5 minutes. Not exactly the kind of market analysis they were looking for. So any advice on how to avoid those awkward interview moments and really knock it out of the park?
Well, aside from avoiding cat-related tangents, the key is to remember that an interview is a two-way street. It's not just about them evaluating you, it's also an opportunity for you to evaluate them. Do your research on the company, prepare some insightful questions of your own, and go in with the mindset that you're both trying to find the perfect fit.
Confidence and curiosity, yeah. That's the magic formula. And hey, if RoleCatcher can help me avoid those cat-infested interview rabbit holes, I'm all for it. But even with the best preparation, those pre-interview jitters can hit hard. Any final words of wisdom to help calm those nerves and put your best foot forward?
Absolutely. Remember, you've gotten to the interview stage because something on that resume, something in your experience sparked their interest. Don't be afraid to let your personality shine through. This industry thrives on connections and genuine enthusiasm. If you're passionate about the world of food and supply chains, let that excitement show.
I love that. Passion is contagious. We've talked about the skills, the challenges, the earning potential, even how to ace the interview. But as we wrap up this deep dive, I have one final question for you, our listener, and it's a big one. What kind of person truly thrives in this world of wholesale merchanting? Is it the one who craves predictability or the one who thrives on the unexpected?
That's the heart of it, isn't it? It takes a special kind of person to navigate this world. You need that rare blend of analytical prowess and interpersonal finesse. Someone who can analyze complex data spreadsheets one minute and charm a room full of dairy farmers the next.
We're not just talking about someone who enjoys a good cheese board. We're talking about someone who's got that entrepreneurial spirit, who's always looking for the next opportunity, the next deal, the next innovation in the world of food and agriculture.
Precisely. It's about being adaptable, resourceful, and always willing to learn. The world of wholesale merchanting is in constant flux, shaped by everything from global weather patterns to shifting consumer tastes.
So if you're the kind of person who enjoys a challenge, who thrives on making connections, and who's always up for a good negotiation, whether it's for a vintage lamp at a flea market or 1,000 gallons of organic milk, then maybe, just maybe, this is the career path for you.
And remember, whether you're a seasoned pro or just dipping your toes into the world of wholesale resources like RoleCatcher, can provide invaluable insights and guidance every step of the way.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, especially in a fast-paced industry like this one. Big thanks to RoleCatcher for providing the roadmap to this fascinating career path. And to our listener, we hope this deep dive has given you a taste, pun intended, of what it takes to succeed as a wholesale merchant in the exciting world of dairy and edible oils. Until next time, happy learning.